Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Blue Collar Sports Talk. We've had some fun games in the last 24 hours to talk about, including some volleyball. University of Nebraska Cornhusker volleyball team is on a roll. Our true freshman, Becca Alec, won, I think, freshman of the week, and she continued to play really tough, had a career-high 10 kills last night.
I've yet to drop a set since that Stanford loss.
Yeah.
That is crazy in volleyball.
At Purdue, which it's a tiny little arena that they play at, but man, they pack it all the time. They're always at like over 100% capacity, much like Wisconsin and Nebraska is.
Very nice.
Quickly, Nebraska's lineup for volleyball in the upcoming 10 days. On the road still at Illinois Saturday. That's on the Big Ten Network, 6 p.m. Saturday. Wednesday, at Wisconsin next week, also on Big Ten Network. That's an 8 p.m. match. And then we're back home versus Maryland. It's a 7 p.m. only on Big Ten Plus. Just want to talk about that briefly. We could talk volleyball and how good we are forever, but also just a quick note. The number one team last night was beaten by an Iowa State team. Number one Texas at home. Iowa State took them 5 sets and knocked them off. So
I'm predicting Nebraska jumps from 3-1.
That's good and bad when you have young players that, we're number one, we can beat anybody, and I would like to see them stay hungry and like go after it. But yeah, I don't know who else would be number one. That
at Wisconsin game is going to be a real good test for them. But if they get past that, man, they got to be feeling good. That rotation, whatever Cook's got going, keep it. I mean, it is working.
Yeah.
You said you watched the third set. Look how many girls are getting in these third set blowouts.
Yeah, Maisie Boziger was in to serve.
My goodness.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate Kennedy Orr doesn't get more time now that Nicklin Hames is back, but Nicklin Hames is back and
oh, goodness.
The team is running really good. Ani Evans comes in and does a great job when they do the 5-2, 6-1. They seamlessly
right.
They seamlessly switch back and forth between, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and as a defense, and I know we're going a little long here, but it's like the defense when you have a run and shoot to, oh my gosh, we're going to huddle up. Wait, they're slowing it down? Yeah, so as a volleyball player, I played the 6-2 majority of the time. You plan differently for a 5-1 than you do a 6-2. And if you're changing it during the game and that defense has to adjust, that's quite the weapon.
Purdue's head coach was visibly frustrated because we did that to his team. They were so frustrated. What's frustrating for me, we're going to move on to the NCAA, is what does Texas do against Oklahoma State after all this crazy stuff has happened in the Big 12? Because I kind of wrote off Oklahoma, and then they come in and just smoke last week's opponent.
Right.
But we're not talking about Oklahoma right now. We're talking about Texas and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is ranked number 11th. Texas 20th. They're at Oklahoma State, and Texas is favored by 6.5.
Yes, because I think Vegas has this correct. Ewers is back at Texas, just like we're talking about Hames coming back. Their quarterback has made a big difference in that Texas team. And this game either tells everybody, get on notice, Texas is back, or nope, it's the same old thing, and they'll stop talking about them in the national or in the playoffs at least.
Or Oklahoma State losing last week. They lost for the first time. So
I think the best team right now in their conference is TCU. Yeah.
TCU is amazing.
Really good right now. I'll take Texas.
You're taking Texas. Roger, who are you taking in this matchup?
I'll take the points in Oklahoma State.
I don't know what to think. I just don't see Texas getting it done in Oklahoma State. I'm going to go with what Roger's saying.
Yeah, 6.5 seems like an awful lot. So I'll take the points in Oklahoma State. Texas could win, but
overs are set at 61. I mean, it's crazy how much offense can get put up nowadays.
And early it's low, but also in that second half, whatever adjustments the teams make, they don't make them defensively. Offensively, next thing you know, that both teams are scoring 20 points in the third quarter.
20 points in the third quarter. It's crazy.
Isn't it?
We are going to move on to the Syracuse-Clemson. At Clemson, both unbeaten. Syracuse at 14, Clemson at 5, and Clemson's favored at 13.5.
Again, I'll take Syracuse in the points. I don't think they'll win, but that's a lot of points. I think Syracuse playing well enough to keep it within 13.
Yeah. There's indicators that Syracuse has no chance. They're going to get run off the road. So Roger's taking Syracuse. I just don't see Clemson losing one at home.
Right. And I know Syracuse can play defense. They're only allowing 13 a game to Clemson's 19. But on the flip side, Syracuse really hasn't played a whole lot. Toughest game, they beat NC State 24-9. But other than that, they beat Purdue. They beat Virginia. Yeah, I don't know if they've really been battle tested like Clemson has. At home, I just don't. I know. So Syracuse getting 36 points a game, 430 yards of offense.
That's the one common opponent that they've both have played. Both of them have played NC State, and they've both beat them.
Right.
And you're going with Clemson?
Yeah, I'm taking Clemson at home.
All right. James has Clemson. Roger is going Syracuse. Alabama got stunned on the road. Nick Saban visibly shaken, screaming at players when they do some stupid stuff. And what I'm thinking about is an interesting play on special teams for him that could have cost him the game, potentially. And now they're at home against a Mike Leach-coached Mississippi State. Points are huge. Alabama's favored by 21. I see them actually putting up a lot of points because they're mad. But
so in their last few games, their penalties have been ridiculous.
Yes.
I mean, that Tennessee game, it was terrible. The game before that,
Texas A&M.
Yeah, the A&M game. It almost cost them the game. And in that Tennessee game, giving them first downs, keeping the ball in their hands or putting their quarterback behind the chains. That's what I'm wondering as Nick Saban. Am I mad because my defense is blowing up these points? Or am I mad because my team is all of a sudden very undisciplined?
They should have lost that game to A&M.
Yes.
The quarterback, how do you not even throw the ball in the end zone? There's no time left on the clock.
Yeah, there is
He didn't even throw it in the end zone.
Right.
There was no chance of winning that game with that throw.
Yes.
It was ridiculous.
Yep. 100%. And the penalties kept A&M in that game. And I think same thing with this game. I don't know. Does he fix the penalties? Does he make them more disciplined? Or is the team still frustrated because, now we lost to Tennessee. We have an outside chance of getting in the playoffs, but there's a chance we don't beat Georgia. We might not get it,
Well, if they keep having penalties like Nebraska, they don't get out of their home stadium with a win against Mississippi State because Mike Leach will use his air raid system that he's used ever since he was an assistant at Oklahoma, way back, to put up a lot of points because the overs and unders are set at 60.5.
Yeah.
And I think that's low.
So
I'm taking Alabama all day long. But if they have all those penalties, they don't get out of there. But I think Saban makes them run stairs until they puke.
God, I hated running stairs.
Roger, who are you going to take on this?
Well, Alabama's defense is just I don't know what exactly happened last week, but I'll take Mississippi State with the points. I mean, Alabama will win the game, but I'm just going to make my picks against the spread this week, and I'm going to go with Mississippi State.
Do we know if Mississippi State's receivers are as good as Tennessee's?
We'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, that's my thing.
Well, you don't cover them, they're good.
Right. If they're half as good, like you said, it's air raid. I could see Mississippi State hanging with them and covering easily, if not, like you're saying, winning. So.
Well, Mississippi State's coming off a loss to University of Kentucky. A very tough Kentucky team.
Yeah, they're very defensive-minded.
They have beat Arkansas, Texas A&M, and then they lost their first game against LSU. But if you do what Nebraska does, play the receivers 10 yards off the ball, even if you have talented cornerbacks and defensive backs, you're not going to stop them.
You're just giving them all the way down. That bend don't break doesn't work in college.
All right, Rogers taking points, and Mississippi wins the bet.
I'm hoping to jinx, so I'm going to take Alabama and say they cover.
Yeah,
Just so hopefully I can jinx them.
Yeah, they could have 3 losses this year. It's amazing.
Right, and somehow they'll still be in the talk for the playoffs, which would drive me nuts.
Yeah, I've seen the college football playoff show, and of course they haven't made their rankings yet. But I thought to myself the very same thing. I bet you if the rankings came out this weekend, somehow Alabama would be 4th. You know, they would somehow get them in there. And I'm not saying they're wrong, because they're probably one of the top 4 teams in the country. But
they said they can have 3 SEC teams in the playoffs with Tennessee, Georgia, and Bama.
Yes.
Since Tennessee beat them, they could lose to Georgia. Georgia could lose to Alabama in the the conference championship. All 3 of those teams would have 1 loss, and all 3 would be in.
Yes.
Boy, BS.
but that's the problem with a 1-loss playoff system.
Yes.
The College World Series, you have the losers bracket, and the losers could still come back and come back in it. And I bring that up because Arkansas did that, and they came back to the title game.
But on that, you have all these teams already. So they're still having to play through. If you have an Alabama 1-loss team and you're going to keep out an undefeated UCF team, I have a problem with that. Because I'm like,
right,
you
and that's why
didn't even win your conference. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah. But if you don't even win your conference, to me, you don't get it in the playoffs unless there is no other teams to put in.
Moving on to K-State on the road, TCU, favored only by 3.5. TCU is number 8. Kansas State's number 17.
So the spread at home for TCU kind of surprises me. I would figure this would be a 6-7 point easily. But my guess is K-State's ball control, keeping the ball out of TCU hands has got to be the difference, I'm guessing. I'm going TCU all the way. I think right now they're a top 5 team, obviously. They have them at number 8. I think just because they started off so low, but TCU is playing some really, really good football.
TCU is playing great football. Kansas State's defense is playing some great football. But TCU won in overtime to Oklahoma State last week, knocked off 19 KU, beat just really troubled at the time number 18 Oklahoma, and they're undefeated right now. Does K-State's defense get it done, hold them to under 17 points, and come out with a win?
TCU hasn't scored less than 38 all year.
I like TC at home, cover. TCU at home.
Rogers taking TCU at home. I think that's a great way to look at it. James?
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
With the 3.5?
Easily. I think they win by 10, honestly.
I'm going to say K-State's defense comes out on top, and I'm going with the points that even if they lose by 2, that's a win.
True.
For Kansas State.
Right.
So, UCLA, number 9. Oregon, number 10, favored by 6 at home. So, some great West Coast teams here. And the spread is a little bit different than the TCU K-State game where TCU is only getting 3.5. But UCLA doesn't have the defense stopping power, I don't believe, to stop Oregon. But, I mean, that's why they play the game. I was completely floored when Oklahoma came alive when their starting quarterback came back and made me look like a fool when I picked against them last week. So, what is going to happen? Because Oregon's 5-1, UCLA is undefeated.
Yeah, and to me, UCLA's been battle tested. You know, they've already beat Washington, beat Utah, putting up 40-plus points in both those games. Oregon's, the claim to fame is the BYU, who obviously we know is not very good. They've lost numerous games since then. And they got Arizona, Stanford, as their notch in the belt, I guess, in the conference. But I like UCLA. I've watched a couple of their games now since they play late. And yeah, I'll take UCLA they're going to give me points to pick UCLA. Oh yeah, 100%. Their quarterback has 15 touchdowns, only 2 picks. Yeah. Give me that. UCLA all day.
Roger, what do you think?
Yeah, I like UCLA in this game too. Oregon's only loss was to Georgia, right?
First game
of the year.
Right.
And they got 49-3, 43, whatever it was. They got beat bad.
It was ugly. Yeah.
And Oregon's played really good since.
Yep. And Georgia,
but I don't know in a game like this. It's just, I think it's going to be a lot of points. I could honestly see this game coming out just like the UCLA-Washington game, which I picked Washington to win that game. And UCLA kind of took it to them.
UCLA won by 8.
I'm with James. If you're going to give me points, I'll take UCLA all day.
Yeah.
And I'll just go ahead and say I think UCLA wins the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the odd man out. I'm going to take Oregon at home because they're at home. And truly by points, I don't see it happening. I see UCLA winning, actually outright, but you never know what happens at home in Oregon. Oregon Stadium's fun to play at. Tough for opponents.
Yeah. What color uniform they going to wear?
Oh, out of the 1,000 that Nike gives them every year?
Yeah, I'd like to see UCLA win. I've always said since this playoff started, I'd like to see like 8 or 9 undefeated teams at the end of the year.
Yes.
Just to see the controversy. And
my goodness. And make some of them one-loss teams stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that's why they knew it need to expand it, but, and I'm with you in that Washington game. I totally picked Washington also. I'd watched games. UCLA looked good, but Washington looked really good. So, yeah, that's why I'm on the UCLA bandwagon, picking them to try to win the Pac-12 right now.
They all look really good. That was the last game that I had on my lineup for NCAA. When we're talking about playoff systems, NFL's playoff system has wild cards, and it looks like every single team in the NFL right now could be a wild card.
Oh, my goodness.
But someone has to win their league, don't they?
Yeah, their division. Yeah, these teams sitting down, it's like, you know what? We're only 1 game out. We're 2-4, and we're only 1 game out from winning this division.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, you know what? I think Roger wanted to bring up a game still in the NCAA. I said let's move on, but Ole Miss at number 7 is 7-0 at LSU. Depending on what you look at, they're either favored by 2 or 2.5, and the overs are set at 68 or something.
Yeah, 68. And what's interesting is when we talk about this playoff thing, Ole Miss could be a spoiler. Say they beat LSU, which apparently Vegas is thinking they're not. Ole Miss could mess up the whole one loss between Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee because they can put themselves in that mix, right?
Right.
But I'm at a loss also how LSU is favored in this game by 2, 3, 1, whatever it would be.
How are they favored? Because they've beaten a tough Kentucky team, and they've beaten Auburn. Yeah, they've got some Georgia Tech isn't that good. Tulsa isn't that good, but they've got some good wins.
Yeah, they both beat Auburn, and Ole Miss beat them 48-34. LSU beat them 21-17. So.
Well, they also LSU has beaten Mississippi State at one of their first games. So, they're good. So, Roger, what do you think? Does Ole Miss get a win on the road? Or, James, does LSU punish them? What happens with this?
Well, like I said, when I saw this game, I was kind of shocked that LSU was favored because I'm with James on Ole Miss being in the mix of the SEC. They just score a ton of points. And if you can hang 40 points in a game, you have a chance to win every game. So I was kind of shocked. But then I started looking into some of their defensive play, and I'm like, well, they are giving up a lot of points. They're traveling to LSU, and LSU's tough at home.
Very tough at home.
I think Ole Miss gets the win just because they beat them kind of like they did Auburn last week. They'll score in the 40s. Maybe LSU's around 38. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird. And just like the Oregon game, if you want to give me points, I'll take Ole Miss.
I mean, good family family going to be upset with me. Sorry, Steph, but as much as I would like to pick LSU at home, which I did against Tennessee, by the way, and I lost that one, obviously, I go with Ole Miss. I think they are really that good. I know you're talking about scoring the points, LSU playing defense. You say that, and then Tennessee went in there and put up 40 points on them at LSU. So I think Ole Miss can do the same thing.
I've never said this. Defense wins championships.
No, you've never said that. I haven't heard that yet.
But yeah, for the season, which is a short 7 games right now, currently, Ole Miss is 7-0, and they've allowed only 17.3 points a game.
Right. They're the SEC team people are not talking about, and they're going to have to talk about soon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all three of us have looked at this and went Ole Miss all the way, but we've also been wrong in the past, which is kind of fun sometimes when you go back and look. I'm like, man, what did we miss? But
yeah, I mean, because Vegas is always right on, right? And I get the home team gets 3 points, but then even if you take those points away, you're saying it's even. And so later on, Ole Miss does have Alabama November 12th. Yes, I'm peeking. And then that's it. They don't play Georgia or Tennessee. So their big test, if they can beat Alabama, oh, wow. I can't wait till November 12th now.
Yeah, there's a lot of great games in the SEC. A lot of talent. A lot of that talent does get to the NFL. Burrow was at LSU for a year. And now, moving on to the NFL, I bring up Burrow because he's on a 3-3 Bengals team that was at the Super Bowl, playing at home against Rodgers Falcons. So this is a battle of the 3-3s in the NFL.
Right.
Who can get it done? Does Burrow not get sacked 12 times in a game and win? They're favored by 6.5. There is no consistency in the NFL this year. It's all over the place, and it's kind of maddening.
They call that parity.
Yeah.
The Falcons don't get after the quarterback very well. And if you give Burrows time, he's pretty good.
I saw a roughing the passer on Brady that would say otherwise.
The Falcons got after Brady a lot, and the Buccaneers are missing their center. He's still hurt. They're missing Tom Brady's head because his head is wondering who's going to win this chicken game between me and my current wife. Is she going to freeze me out and then I'm actually divorced if I stay in the NFL the whole season, or am I going to retire and I don't have to pay divorce lawyer?
Right.
Yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. So yeah. Falcons Bengals. The Falcons had an amazing game, and I think the refs blew it, and they took the game from them because for some reason everybody loves Brady.
You're talking about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Brady. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're looking at Atlanta, they should have had a chance to beat the Bucks.
So they're 4-2.
Right. So then the following week they do take out the Niners, who no one gave them a chance. I kept my fingers crossed for them, but I picked the Niners. But they went in and played a very solid game plan. So now the only thing I don't like about this game for the Falcons, it's on the road in Cincinnati. Not that Cincinnati has cleared out all their cobwebs, but the sacks have went down the last few weeks. They make so many plays late in the third and fourth quarter. I'm going to have to take Cincinnati at home on this one.
Well, 6.5 points. That's...
Yeah, since the first game of the year, the Falcons blew another 16-point lead to the Saints, which I thought that's crazy. I mean, I didn't like that at all. But since then, the Falcons have been 3-2. If that Rams game would have been another 5 minutes long, I think they would have came back and beat the Rams. They outscored them 17-3 in the fourth quarter.
Ran out of time.
And had the ball and threw an interception in the end zone.
Yep.
They beat the Rams in the fourth quarter. Lost the game, but beat them in the fourth quarter. And then against Brady, they were ripped off a chance of winning that game. And then they come in and Mariota only threw the ball 12 times, was 11 for 12. And then they ran for another 170 yards. And they held the Niners to 50 yards rushing. They went in there and they said, we're going to be physical and we're going to beat you guys, which if they would have told me at the beginning of the game, I said, no, that's the wrong thing to do with the Niners.
And if
they did it and they won.
In that Bucs game, that's what I said is if they had, what's his name as the running back, Patterson.
Yeah.
It was there. I think it would have been a different game. They were out without him. But yeah, Mariota only he could do the Martinez. I can throw the ball 12 or 15 times. But as well as we run the ball and keep the ball in our side and keep our defense fresh, Atlanta has a chance.
Roger, are you taking the Falcons on covering the 6.5 on the road?
I will bet the pros against the spread also this week, and I will take the Falcons to cover that. I'm right there with you, Roger. I'm not going to pick them to win, but I will pick them against the spread.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the Falcons cover, and James thinks Cincinnati covers.
Yes.
All right. We were talking a lot about the 49ers. They are at home against the Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 2.5 on the road. Chiefs are really good. Niners are kind of here and there. Sometimes they have a lot of players hurt. I think they're a better team with a hurt Trey Lance and a healthy Garoppolo. But that's a business decision. They were hoping to get some money for Garoppolo and trade him and get some weapons, but they didn't.
And then their new star didn't even play very well, ended up getting hurt. And it's almost a blessing for the Niners that Jimmy G no one wanted him, or I can't say wanted him, or didn't want to give up what the Niners wanted for him. And they were able to keep him because now they have a chance in that very weak West.
Yeah, the AFC is interesting. So,
I mean, NFC West, you have 3 teams that are 3-3. And then Arizona's right there at 2-4, who supposedly Arizona was going to be one of the better teams in that conference, pushing the Rams. But, I mean, to me, a very mediocre division. And I think the only reason this game is interesting is it's at the 49ers. I mean, I'm not even talking them up. I'm taking Kansas City win by 10. Mahomes is playing great. They just coming off that loss to the Bills. Not that they have to show the world that they're better than what they were because they got beat by an equal team to them. So, yeah, they don't have nothing to prove to anyone. But, yes, they go in and take care of the Niners because the Niners will not be able to score 20 points against them.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. I do think the Niners will step up defensively and hold the Chiefs. But I think that, like James says, I think 20 points will be enough to win this game. I'd take the unders in it. I don't even know what the unders are.
The overs and unders are set at 48.5.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. I'll definitely take the unders on that, but I think the Chiefs win. And 2.5 points ain't that much. So
No,
I'll take them. I'll take the Chiefs to win 2017.
We're all on the same page. We said KC can get it done because 2.5 points, you're right, isn't that much against a 49ers team who really doesn't know who they are. A lot of people banged up, and a team that knows who they are is the Jets.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Jets.
I'm just
Roger's laughing for the same reason I'm laughing in my head. Who thought the Jets would be where they're at right now?
As young as they are, no, I didn't think they would do, especially Zach Wilson was hurt, and that's why they struggled early. Flacco was on the ball 50-plus times a game. I guess they didn't realize that Hall is going to be the AFC's Rookie of the Year. Just get him some touches and take that pressure off Zach Wilson, and look what they did against Green Bay.
Green Bay is also a team that doesn't know who they are right now. So the reason I said that is the Jets have some wins against some teams that are troubled. And and the Broncos are troubled. I said it way before the season started that they'll be lucky to be at 500 with an all-new coaching staff, roughly, and a new quarterback that came over, and they're going to try to install a whole new system. But somehow the Broncos are favored by 1 at home. That's just dumb.
Russell Wilson started that game off 10 for 10 and then went 2 for 15 in the second half.
Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. You're moving the ball, you get in the end zone, everybody's looking good, and then whoever makes adjustments or don't make adjustments, and then you look like it's a preseason game.
Yeah. I find it amazing that Russell Wilson can just be terrible all year long, have one drive, and everybody on TV is like, oh, he's back. And then all of a sudden, no, he's not.
This is what they thought they were getting. This is just for, they figured it out.
Yeah.
Push the brakes, buddy. Push the brakes.
You say it's all on Russell Wilson. I say it's all on the coaching staff because they stuck with Gordon at the running back position the first game of the season after he fumbled just in some crucial times, and it took him until week 7 to now come out and say, we had to sit down and talk with Gordon about his touches and why he didn't get any touches in the second half last week. Gordon's quoted as saying, when asked, did Hackett explain what happened? He's like, well, yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. Okay, how about you coach up your players so you can still use a great player who can break tackles, find the hole, and teach him what it takes to hold on to the ball.
But I still think Williams is their better back.
Right now, currently.
Right. And Gordon, I know after the game, said he was disappointed that he didn't get a chance to help the team, and get in there. But he leads the league in fumbles in the last 5 years. He's like top dog in fumbles. And like you said, you can't be fumbling inside the 5.
That happened with a Barber running back, and they sat him down and had a discussion with him. And then after that, I think he might have had 1 the rest of the season.
Amon Green had a fumble thing, took that stupid sleeve off his arm, and all of a sudden, early in his career, that was his thing. He was his fumble guy. And then, like I said, had the talk or had whatever, they fixed it. So, you would think they'd be able to.
That's just one part of the equation that's wrong with the Broncos. I don't see them getting out of Mile High Stadium with the win against the Jets. I had the Jets winning this.
Oh, what did we say the spread was on this game?
1.
1. It's a pick 'em.
It's a pick 'em?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go with Broncos at home. I don't know why. I just will.
Okay, I can't even call this my upset because I think the Jets should be favored by 2 or 3 on the road. Anyway, I'm taking Zach Wilson and the Jets, and Hall's going to rush for 150 yards.
Oh, that's a great call. That's a great call. I had fun watching Saleh run out on the tee. I almost said court. Run out on the field when they were winning against the Packers, and just so much emotion. He's just like, look what all the work I've done is now paying off. I'm like, I agree with you, Saleh, but at the same time, the Packers just aren't.
Right.
They're playing against each other almost.
Well, yeah. So you have your quarterback come out, and I know we don't have any other games because this week in the NFL is what we would call a bye week. But you have Rodgers comes out and says, we got to simplify. We need to, reevaluate, blah, 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 blah. And then you have the coach come out, I forget his name, but he goes, I don't even know what that means. You have an Aaron Rodgers elite quarterback and a coach that aren't even on that close on the same page. I love it because as a Cowboy fans, the more Green Bay loses, the happier I am, even when my team loses. Green Bay losing that weekend, 49ers losing that weekend. Obviously the Eagles couldn't lose because they beat the Cowboys. It doesn't it's not such a bad weekend after all.
Yeah. We didn't even put the Packers are playing the Commanders this week because neither one of those teams knows what's going on. Yeah. And I'm going to briefly move on to NBA, and then we're going to turn it over to the MLB, but James has got one more thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we don't mention the Saints-Cardinals playing tonight, right? But I would like to say anybody that wants to, flip it on and not watch the baseball games tonight is you will get teams that won't be a field goal fest. I will promise there'll be at least 3 touchdowns scored tonight as opposed to the last 2 weeks of, I don't even call it football. But yes, if you're an NFL fan, if you want to get that last round of golf in, you got leaves to rake, you got chores to do. This Sunday is a Sunday to do it because, the schedule. I don't even know what the NFL was thinking when they made these matchups. There's like 3, if you will, all the way back in the beginning of the season and not know how bad a team was going to be, maybe good watching games. Other than that, you're just like, really?
Cardinals have lost 8 at home. So do they break that? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even. Do the Saints even know who's going to be the quarterback tonight?
As long as Taysom Hill gets 15 snaps, I'll take it. I love Taysom Hill as a wildcat throwing quarterback, whatever running back that he is. I love it when they mix him in.
And he's still eligible at tight end in fantasy leagues. Crazy.
Yes. He is.
How'd you like to have him for your tight end?
I would love to have him for a tight end. Yeah, on your fantasy.
He's not even a tight end.
No.
He gets quarterback stats at the tight end position. Crazy.
There goes Rodgers gave free advice for that X factor in your, was it the flex spot?
Yeah.
Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yep.
How would you have liked to have picked the Miami Dolphins quarterback as your fantasy league quarterback, and then he gets basically concussed
Benched.
2 games in a row, and then they hurt their backup, and then they hurt their backup, and then the backup to the backup gets hurt, and
They have to bring in another hurt that's not as hurt as the other hurt.
yeah. Gosh, what a crazy season for the Dolphins. Any Dolphins fans out there, I feel for you.
It looks like Tua's back this week, though. He cleared protocols. He's practicing this week, so it looks like Miami might have Tua back. I don't even know, do they play this week or are they off?
No, they play.
I'm
they
closing
play.
my
Okay.
eyes because Tua, if you get another concussion, man, do you
You sit him.
recover from that?
No, to me, if he gets a concussion this week, you let him sit the rest of the year.
But they won't.
Well, especially if he just gets a concussion on just a normal tackle.
Right.
I mean, we can all agree that it ain't like his head just slammed down hard. It was not that. It did not look that egregious. And if he concusses that easy, it's retirement time.
Luke Kuechly, right? The linebacker for Carolina, give himself a concussion hitting people. He got 2 in 1 year, and he sat out the rest of the year and then retiring. Yeah, to me, if you get 2 within, like you said, on a normal tackle, a hit or whatever, I would definitely got to reevaluate something.
Yeah, so how do you change that in the NFL? Do you go to rugby rules and everybody takes their helmet off so they stop hitting people in the head? No, and everybody's laughing.
Right.
But I mean, how do you fix this? We have players that after they retire kill themselves because they've gone absolutely bonkers, mad, crazy from CTE.
Right, but to me, I just think everybody's body's built different. You have some guys that just can't keep their ACL from tearing on them, and you get other guys that get hit daily in the knees and never tear an ACL.
Yeah.
I think Tua might just have one of those. I have no idea how the brain sits in there, but it doesn't hold itself very well, and then it's the impact. It just automatically clicks. But you have like Tom Brady, who gets hit a lot. Granted, the refs do care for him. And Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers has ever had a concussion, but the way him and Burrow are getting hit this season. And so I'm just saying, I don't think that helmet thing is a thing because I think everybody's bodies are different. And like Luke Kuechly, sometimes the brain, I just think maybe the way it hits, that's just the way their body is.
Yeah. Who knows the makeup of how much space he has in his skull for the brain to slap up against it and cause a concussion or a traumatic brain injury. But I don't want to see this kid lose lose brain function, paralysis, or what have you. Just too many what ifs to cut your
so
life
if he gets
short.
a concussion this week, I say, if I'm a coaching staff, I'm sitting you the rest of the year, reevaluating. We're going to see. And I'd shut up. They'll take a picture. I'm shutting you down the rest of the season. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's just the way it is.
I don't know if Miami Dolphins staff would do that.
No, I don't think any NFL staff does. That's too much money. It's too bad money talks.
Money. NBA money is starting. Just a brief lineup of some games. Celtics are playing the Heat. They won at home their first game. Celtics play the Heat on Friday on ESPN. ESPN's lineup for Friday matchup should be fun. I love ESPN's Friday night games. They always pick up some great ones. The late game is the Nuggets and Warriors. Prior to this taping of our show, we were talking via text, me and Roger's like, hey, what do you think of the Celtics 76ers matchup. And I'm like, I wouldn't touch a Celtics bet right now.
Right.
And Roger's like, oh, I like the 76ers. And I cringed. I didn't send that back. I was just like, oh, I don't know. And then the Celtics just destroy them in the second half.
So you had texted me, hey, Ryder's taking Celtics, Lakers. I'm sorry, Philly Lakers and the overs or whatever it was. And I was like, I said, no, I'm taking the C's and I'm taking the Warriors, not to be opposite, but I like Boston at home first game of the season.
Well, I like the Warriors at home first season.
Right.
They're raising the banner and giving the rings.
Yes, and anytime you bet against the Lakers, you're probably going to win. Right. And the Lakers are, oh my gosh, we just have to be healthy and we'll be just as good and blah, blah, blah. And they're not. I mean, that's not even good basketball. So what does LeBron say? You guys saw what LeBron said after the game? It's not like we have a team of snipers. We're not really built that way. Oh, you mean the team you put together, you didn't think about getting some shooters?
Okay, I said this about Von Miller when they traded him. Great, you got some value. I say this to the Lakers. Trade LeBron, get some value for him.
Oh, they're trying to trade Westbrook.
Westbrook,
thank you.
I know.
Right. What I think is funny is, but they did make moves, but they made them on the defensive side. They go, oh, we need to stop people. Although all these shows and media were talking about, man, you need to have somebody to hit from the outside. But these role players, when you watch, I don't know if you guys got to watch the Warriors-Lakers games, when those guys come in, just watch them. If your name's not AD, LeBron, or Westbrook, or whenever Beverly comes back, you don't know what your role is. Do I set a pick or do I come over here? My job is to get the ball to them guys and get out of the way. And to me, it's just like having with the Nets, having Ben Simmons on your team. No one cares what you're doing because you're not going to do anything except maybe foul out. So as a role player on the Lakers, I'm doubling off you all day long because I know you ain't going to shoot.
Yeah. James and I, before we started taping, were laughing at the Nets losing their home opener.
Oh, by a lot.
To the Pelicans. And a lot of it is, Ben Simmons hasn't played with this lineup to know exactly what to expect. And they lost by 22.
Mm-hmm.
Rogers Hawks are playing the Hornets. All three games that I listed, the Celtics Heat Friday, the Nuggets Warriors Friday, and the Hornets and Hawks Sunday. Unless you deep dive to see the lines, the season is kind of new. So sometimes they don't list lines until the day of.
Right.
But I just wanted to point out that the NBA season is here, and I'm loving it already. I was a little concerned with Ime being sat, but I think the Celtics have some really good players, and if they just continue doing, they're going to be tough to beat. The Nuggets looked a little off with Jamal Murray coming back. One of the few times that Nikola Jokic didn't even have a double-double. If you look back at last year, he was doing amazing at that, but I think they ran the offense through Jamal Murray last night, and he didn't even get enough assists to get a double-double. And the Hornets and Hawks. Hornets are a stacked team of young players, just like the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yep.
And so are the Hawks. Hawks have some great young players. So on Sunday, I think that's going to be a great game.
That Murray for the Hawks, they got him from the Spurs. Yeah, I didn't watch any of the game, but I seen that he had 20 points. That's a big addition if he can keep doing that.
Yeah.
And a team that picked up right where they left off,
Yeah.
So when you look at these NBA teams, some are getting the usual excuses, the Nets and Lakers, you got to give them excuses. The Nets is getting their legs back and playing together. Grizzlies picked up right where they left off. John Morant and them looked amazing last night.
And even if John Morant gets hurt again, which might happen,
Right.
they played even better because it was as good. I shouldn't say better.
Right.
They played as good because they have enough players that
They
can
play
step
team
up.
ball.
Yeah, they
Yes.
play team ball.
And that's what I like about the Celtics. If, hopefully not, but they lose a Tatum or Brown for a few games or whatever, they play enough team ball, it doesn't hurt them. It's these other teams that try to get their little big three in there and you missing one. And all of a sudden they can't win. Oh, you got to make excuses for them. No. If you're a complete team, you should be able to miss one guy.
I was a little concerned when the Celtics sat Horford down, and gosh, I can't remember the guy's name that came in, but he actually played really well. He's not Al Horford. He's still figuring out the system that's going on. But I thought he did good. And my concern was they're out without Robert Williams. So when Horford sits, do they have a good enough backup?
Yeah, that guy that did come in, that bigger dude, just now getting his legs under him. He missed for an injury, but he looked really good. Not quite Robert Williams-like, but he was a big body and he liked to play around the rim. But on the Celtics, as a Celtics fan, I didn't like it. I think it was early second quarter. They had the second team in there, giving the first team a rest. And Philly went on a bit of a run, went up by 10 or 11 points. And it's just like they were trying to feel each other out. You know, it's one of those where they're like,
But that's when they started they started doing effective double teaming of Joel Embiid, which really frustrated him. And they didn't, 76ers didn't have an answer for that double team. Because he's not playing tough.
Yeah, Embiid, I don't know. I hardly saw any on the low post scoring. I mean, everything was pulling out, jumpers. I mean, he had a couple late. I think he got like 6 points late in the thing. I was like, well, you can pad your stats now. Celtics are up 15. They don't care.
Power forward Noah.
That's the one. Yes.
Vonleh.
I like him.
6'10", out of Indiana. And he showed a lot.
Yes. Yeah, so not quite Robert Williams, but, man, he does like to play around the rim, and he plays fast.
He did a decent job on the defensive end, and that's where they missed Robert Williams. They didn't have the rebounding from Noah when Joel Embiid's out there. That's where Joel, I thought, played more aggressive, and he wasn't as aggressive on the offensive side for some reason.
Right.
I don't know why, but we're going to move on to the Major League Baseball playoffs. Yankees are behind a little bit. The 8-ball, they lost to the Astros their game 1. Somehow the Phillies dropped their first game 5-8 when they were up 4-0 for a while. So tonight's game, James's Yankees at Houston, 6:37 on TBS. Astros are favored by 1.5. James?
Yeah, we talked earlier, and my biggest thing is last night's game. Well, actually, the Yankees can't beat Houston all year, 2-6 in the postseason. So this might get a little long here, but Yankees struck out 17 times, 18 times, whatever it was last night. Houston Astros only swung and missed 11 total times.
Who pitched for the Astros last night?
The man, Verlander, the Cy Young winner, who I think would be the Cy Young winner for the American League. It wasn't that the Yankees pitching was bad. I mean, they gave up three solo home runs. And Yankees had 2 solo. Then they had a double, got some clutch hitting. But when you don't put my whole thing with 18 strikers, you don't put the ball in play. You don't challenge the defense or at least try to make them. They're shifting. Let's hit against the shift a little bit. They're going up there, swinging for the power. So if you want to go back into the whole trash can series 5-6 years ago, I was a New York Yankee on that team like Judge and some of these players are, I would have been playing with a chip on my chest. Hey, we deserve to win that. But since then, since that trash can banging series, the Yankees haven't been playing. But the Stros, ALCS game or the series every year. So the Stros have showed, hey, yes, we did cheat, but we deserve it. We are better than that. And they have went to the ALCS every year since then. So
who's on the mound tonight? Do you know?
For the Yankees or?
Both.
Oh, Severino. So, again, another quality pitcher for him. The rain delays hurt them, so they're not going to get much rest in this series at all to reset their pitching staff.
I thought the same thing. When 2 games in a row got moved, and then they had to play back-to-back, and then the series started the very next day.
Yes.
That really hurt the Yankees, and it gave the Astros more time to rest. Right. But you think it doesn't even matter because the Astros pitching is too tough.
Oh, yeah. So when we first started the baseball playoffs and we were making our predictions, I had said Astros probably have the best pitching staff coming in or starting. They got Valdez going tonight, who, if you look at his ERA, is not pretty. But if he gives them 4 solid innings and they bring in that bullpen that has shut everybody down in this whole postseason, it's not going to matter. Severino honestly has to pitch a 2-hit shutout, and the Yankees got to hope they can claw they said it last night's game. When you're playing the Astros and you're playing in the playoffs, you have got to play small ball, generate runs. And right now, it's the typical Yankees in the postseason. If there's no
Swing
home
for the
run,
fences.
right? No home run, no win. And I hate that. They got the guys on the team now with speed and can make the contact, play small ball.
Yeah. Framber Valdez, during the regular season, he was 25 or so consecutive starts of quality outings, which means 6 innings, 3 earned runs. So I can see him going 6 innings tonight, but it don't really matter. That Astros bullpen is unhittable right now.
Yeah,
they are just unhittable.
Yeah, and Baker Rose,
they're on a 20-inning
scoreless streak. Yeah,
scoreless streak of not giving up a run. They play 18 innings and don't give up an earned run.
I don't think Baker needs to play the righty-lefty matchup. He just has to go next.
Yeah.
And whoever steps out there steps up to the challenge. And again, 18 strikeouts. They challenge the Yankee hitters. I don't care if his name was Stanton, Judge, Carpenter, Torres. I'm pitching it. And guess what? They weren't hitting it. Donaldson looked terrible with runners in scoring position both times.
Yeah, Stanton was the only one that didn't strike out last night.
Right. Ain't that ridiculous?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he's the one that led the team in strikeouts.
Yeah. But now, I like the Astros. I like the Astros pitching. I definitely like their bullpen. But they do need to start hitting the ball a little better.
Right.
Especially their table setter, Altuve.
Oh.
He's 0 for 19 in that postseason.
Only thing that makes me smile is he was not on base last night.
I was like, I don't even know how. He's an MVP winner. Back in 2017, he won the AP Player of the Year. He beat out LeBron James and Tom Brady. So this kid is just a phenomenal baseball player, and he's 0 for 19. I don't get it.
Who's their third baseman? Brigman is another one that isn't producing right now. He has a few hits, but overall, you got your Judge / Rizzo guys not producing, and the rest of the lineup's like, hey, don't worry, we got you. Flip side, the Yankees those guys are getting some hits in there, and the rest of the guys are like, yeah, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, if you're not hitting on all cylinders in the playoffs, I don't think you're going to get out of this series.
Yeah, I think
do the Yankees get swept?
I think 4-1. My cousins are huge. They live down in Houston and been to a few games. They're huge Astro fans. We text. I told her, she goes, it should be a good series. No, it'll be 4-1. I say 4-1. I'm hoping the Yankees could steal a game somewhere. Tonight, I think, would be the best night. But now I think 4-1 Stros. And then the Stros go on and sweep the World Series.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Yankees will somehow get one game, but even if they get one game, it's still it's going to be 4-1, I think, too. That's what I'm going to go with, 4-1.
All right, moving on to the Friday night game. Padres playing the Phillies. That's on FS1 at 6:37. Roger, what do you think about the Padres and Phillies?
Yeah, the Phillies won the first game 2-0 on Zach Wheeler. It's phenomenal pitching. Through 7 innings, 83 pitches. And I was like, leave him in. And they didn't. It didn't come back to backfire. They ended up winning 2-0.
Wait, which game are you talking about, 2-0?
It was the very first game.
Very first game.
Yeah, I think you mentioned earlier that you thought that this game the other night was the first game.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Actually,
this is the game. This is game 3
This will be game
tonight.
3 tonight. Yeah.
They actually get a day off.
No, they do. Right. Well, and it's the series is messed up because of the rain delays.
Yes.
And I was thinking, I was wrong. I was thinking you're talking about last night's game.
I think
where they won 8-5.
Yeah, and last night's game was 8-5. First game was 2-0.
Yep.
Zach Wheeler pitched the gem. Last night, the Phillies' actual ace, Aaron Nola, did not pitch a gem. He gave up 5 earned run the 4th inning or 5th inning, whichever inning that was.
4th, yep.
But in game 1, did you guys see that Schwarber home run?
Oh my goodness!
Talk about just sitting back waiting for a pitch.
It's one of those where the outfielder doesn't even move his feet.
Yeah,
120 miles an hour, 488 feet. They said it was the longest postseason home run ever.
Yeah, I like I want the Phillies to win. I don't know. I guess it's just going to be whoever decides to hit.
Yeah, I counted the Padres out last night because they were down 4-0. And then the next time I checked, I was like, oh my gosh, they jumped all over them.
Bryce Harper's hitting the ball hard. Manny Machado's hitting the ball hard. I think this is just going to come down to who scores, just wants to hit more and score more. And
so
I don't have an idea on who's going to win this series.
agreed.
But weren't both of them wild cards?
Right. So, yeah, when we started talking the baseball, both of us, or all of us, I know me and Roger did, no one had these two teams picked to win the LCS, let alone one of them. Not just either. I mean, neither one of these teams should have made it this far, and they did. Phillies had it set up, both their aces. They had that guy, Wheeler, pitched to 2-0, and then you have Nola going game 2. What more would you ask for? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So there is a chance to go up 2-0, and they lost it. So 1-1. So now you're going back to San Diego you're going back to Philly. And
yeah, Philly snuck one in San Diego, got the win. So now they're going back home,
right?
Which I think gives them a little bit of an edge. And you mentioned Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper came in to bat after a home run, and then he took the first pitch and long balled it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, okay. So the Phillies are cooking,
right?
But the Padres can turn it on at a drop of the hat.
Yep. And again, I don't know who's going to win this series. If I had to pick, I would pick Philly just because I think their pitching overall is better. But against that Padres lineup, does it matter? I still think Houston, whoever wins the Houston Yankees series is going to win the World Series because I'm probably American League bias. But I don't know how long these two teams who didn't even win 90 games all season keep it going all the way through to the World Series.
Yeah. Roger, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the Astros to win the whole thing. I think their pitching and their bullpens is too much. One thing to watch out for is Philadelphia in the past has had a really bad bullpen. I mean, horrendous. So we'll see if their bullpen holds up this year, you know. I think the Padres will win, though. I do. I want Philly, but I kind of got the Padres winning.
All right. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
I do. We didn't talk about it today. Nebraska coming up. They got a couple lopsided games. I don't know how to say it otherwise. They're going to be outmatched the next few games. Just have the fans don't get too upset. Don't start throwing out a Mickey right away. They're going to be outmatched their next 3 games. It just is what it is. Hopefully we play them tight and maybe we squeeze out a win and be happy. But we got to, let's not start throwing the cans at everybody and realize that we are going to be outmatched these next 3 games and not expect too much.
I'm curious. I'm not going to judge them. I'm curious. I'm curious what the defensive coordinator's thoughts are when I see our defensive backs line up 10 yards off the ball on a passing down when you have 5 yards to gain and you give them a 10-yard cushion.
Right.
I don't understand that. So I would like to have an explanation of why that is happening. Or is it the players that they don't think can do it? Or are the players not doing what the coaches are telling them to do?
And what we hear last in that Purdue game was they have no team speed. The Purdue receivers are not very fast. They get over. So why are you not in their grill, on their hip, checking them at the line and giving your pass rush an extra second to get a sack?
I've unfortunately said ever since Scott Frost was a quarterback and now Mickey Joseph is quarterback, I'm not going to lump Mickey Joseph in there.
Coach.
What is the key to winning against Nebraska? Pass every down. Because our defense will let you get 10 yards every pass play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand it. Is it the players that they have to give them that big of a cushion?
Yeah.
Or is it something that I'm missing that this is a good strategy?
It can't be a good strategy. It doesn't work.
Roger, what do you think? Roger's laughing right now.
Yeah, I watched very little bit of that game. Of course, I was working. I don't know what happened to our defense last week. I thought we'd play way better defense than we did. Because the previous 2 weeks in the second half, against Indiana, against Rutgers, we gave up 3 points.
Right.
In 2 halves.
Two total.
Yeah,
together.
3 total points in 4 quarters of play.
Yep.
2 second halves. And so I was like, well, okay, guys, don't worry about the first half. We'll get it together second. And we didn't.
Yep. And we were scoring. And the other thing is the offense.
And then our offense picked up, and I was like, and then I get out to my car, and I turn the radio on, and I heard the 3rd down and 11. And I went, holy moly. We're going to stop him here. We're going to get the ball back, a chance to win this game. And we had him backpedaling. I'm like, oh, my God, this is the first time we had pressure on him all game. And then he throws it up in the air, and they catch it. And then we also get a defense or a roughing the passer.
Right.
But I was just like, oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, I was excited for 10 seconds in that game. And I was like, we're going to pull this sucker off.
And that wasn't the only 3rd and medium to long that they gave up. Just like Ryder's saying, he dropped back, Darrell, and either roll out a little bit or have the time because they gave him a cushion and an inside slant or a little cut in the middle. There it is. Or throws it to the sideline and the guy's got 2 steps of cushion and he catches it for a first down. I'm just like, what? These guys aren't fast. Why are we not on their hips?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. So it was really weird.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing I'll touch on is, and I know none of us are huge hockey fans, but the hockey did start up.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Lightning have made it to the finals the last 3 years. It'd be kind of, I don't know if they're a dynasty that's starting up in hockey. If they're going to be going to the finals every year, I don't know, but I know it's a new season. It just started up. Always starts up about the same time basketball does.
Yeah, Avs hoisted the Stanley Cup last year. They won it.
Right.
They're going to be an amazing team. 2 or 3 years prior, I forget which, they were anointed the team to beat and should have won the Stanley Cup, and then they got exited out of the playoffs really early, and then the following year they win it. I think it was the previous year. But yeah, if you're a hockey fan, NHL is starting, NBA has started, NCAA football, NFL football.
And then one other thing I want to bring up, and maybe it's not even something to bring up, maybe it won't even happen, but the Spence Crawford fight.
Oh, boxing.
Of course, it's being moved back already.
Yeah.
To December, and they said if they can't get it done in the first couple weeks of December, they will not fight during Christmas. So
good.
So they'll push it to January. And
it's a contract dispute that keeps
now,
pushing it.
Right now,
details.
contract dispute, which Bud Crawford left top ranked boxing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So he is not under a contract. He has nobody, I guess, going to bat for him. Spence, it's a PBC. Can't remember that. Who runs the PBC? Hal Heyman. But anyway, it's a Spence fight, so he's getting the majority of the thing. And from what little bit I read, is what Crawford wants is a rematch clause put in. And in that rematch clause, whoever wins the first fight gets a bigger purse in that rematch clause.
Makes sense to me.
And I have no idea if that's what's holding things up. If PBC's like, no, we're not giving you the money. We want the money. We want our guy to get the money.
And that's the problem.
Know.
That's the problem. It's a double-edged sword. Top Rank didn't allow any of these fights to happen. And unfortunately, Errol Spence had that crazy accident where it would have happened. But now Top Rank is like, well, you left us. We're not going to play ball with you. Speaking to Crawford.
Yeah.
But it also happened previously with Pacquiao and Mayweather. And Mayweather didn't want to do it. 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 Pacquiao was pushing for it. And Mayweather finally said, yeah, because he realized Pacquiao was older enough.
Right.
That he's like, oh, yeah, I can outlast this guy.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing with Crawford. If he's not with Top Rank anymore, and I don't follow boxing as close, can he set up his own then? I mean, does he have to be with a company to fight Spence?
It don't
weird.
sound like it, because it sounds like they'd be fighting in November 12th or 19th if Crawford would have said, let's just go.
Well, no, I
But
get
now
that.
he wants something out of
Right.
it. He wants more out of it. He don't want Spence to get a bigger purse and then him get a smaller purse and then get nothing out of it after that.
Right, but I mean, if they agree to terms and they put in this rematch clause and they go with it, he can fight without being under top rank, right? He can
Yes.
fight as a
I guess.
individual.
He can.
Yeah.
He can. It's just a
Okay.
promotion company.
Okay. So, and that's
I
what I
shouldn't say
think.
just.
You would almost want to put that rematch clause in there because after you get it, that pay-per-view is going to be X dollars. And then if it's a good fight and oh my gosh, they're going to fight again, that pay-per-view is going to be X dollars plus, right? So to me, PBC's got to be thinking, yeah, we really don't want to give them that much more money. But if Spence wins and Crawford puts a clause in there of, hey, whoever wins gets more money the next time. If your guy Spence wins and you think he's going to, put that in there. Say, yeah, Crawford, we'll give you that because our guy's going to win anyway and he's going to get most of the money the second time also. So Crawford's actually almost putting it out there on the limb like, ooh, I have to win if I want any money on the rematch, So I don't know why they would hold this up. I mean, to me, it's easy money because
because it's
pay-per-view is going to be crazy.
Boxing never gives the fans what they want. It's just the way
Well,
it
there you
always
go.
is.
And Pacquiao Mayweather is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took how many years for that to happen?
Took way too many years.
Past the
They were
prime.
past the prime, yeah.
It's definitely not the boxing era that was when everything was covered on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Oh, yeah.
And
Everybody played everybody. And then you get these money-hungry, greedy types that come in and don't want to have it because both of their boxers are managed by the same company, so they don't want the same managed company to fight each other. So Bud Crawford realized that and said, fine, I'm out of here. And now they're mad that he left because they've lost money.
lost.
Yeah, can you imagine 60s and 70s boxing was bigger than the NFL? Huge,
Right.
way bigger.
But they fought who they're
Muhammad
supposed to
Ali,
fight.
Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
I mean, just it was crazy.
Ray
And
Boom Boom Mancini,
plus
Sugar Ray Leonard, all
plus
of them.
Plus the heavyweight division was huge. Heavyweight division hasn't been nothing.
No.
Not since Mike Tyson was
Right.
dominating it.
Well,
Tyson Fury had some fun times with Wilder. I mean, that was fun to watch because Tyson punked him, and then he stopped fighting Wilder, and now Wilder shows that he can beat anybody that isn't named Tyson Fury.
right.
But you're right. As far as media, well, now pay-per-view got involved, so not everybody can watch it. It's not on ESPN all the time, and that's what I love Bud Crawford. He loves to push for not being on pay-per-view because I want everybody to be able to see it.
And I can't imagine people paying for that boxing. Wilder Fury is just, I don't know. It was not that good.
But in the 80s and 90s, everybody fought who they were supposed to fight. The top contenders fought each other, and that's what the fans wanted and they got. Like you said, then now, like Darrell always says, money talks. So everybody starts getting their own little piece of the pie, and, oh, yeah, well, my guy's not going to fight this guy, or I'm not going to let you fight because I'm not making this 50-50.
Yeah, it's no longer a sport. It's an entertainment. When Jake
Right.
Paul gets involved and he's making $1 million,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it's not boxing anymore. It's
No.
entertainment. But what is boxing would be a Crawford Errol Spence fight. What is boxing would happen to the Tyson Wilder, Lomachenko. Those guys are boxing.
If it's top rank, every fight should be 50-50. I don't care what the promotion thing would or whatever it is. It should be a 50-50 no matter what. Now if you're fighting a 7-card underdog that just wants a fight, all right, yeah, you're not going to get that. I'm going to let you be on TV and I'm going to toy around with you. But if it's top on top, 50-50, drives me nuts, the industry.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Blue Collar Sports Talk. We've been having a lot of fun talking everything today. Any final thoughts on this boxing? Any final thoughts on NCAA football? We're all praying that Nebraska can figure it out in the football realm. Our volleyball team has it figured out.
Yeah, three more wins. Can they get it? Can we get to a
I'm
bowl?
hoping.
No.
I don't
With the rest of our schedule, no, Huskers don't get to a bowl.
Right, they'd have to not have to, but they need to steal a win in these next 3 to have a chance. In my opinion,
We got
That's
Illinois,
tough.
right?
and then Minnesota.
Oh, and Illinois is playing out of its mind with Brent
Right.
Bielema, the CEO of Illinois right now, being backed by an amazing athletic department.
Well,
And then after
I know we got Iowa and we got Minnesota.
Right. Well, they got Minnesota
And
after
Wisconsin.
Illinois, and I don't know. Minnesota might be the one we could steal.
And
That'd be it.
Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are not
Minnesota's good. I know they just lost their quarterback. I don't know how long he's out, but
Yeah, but
Better than Nebraska? No.
yeah.
Nebraska's not better than them is what I meant to say. I just don't see us doing it. Ladies and gentlemen,
see ya.
James,
Yep. See you guys later.
Roger, Darrell, go watch some sports.